Welcome back to the Workhorse Podcast. It's Kendall and Jess here, and we are diving in to everything that has been going on since we last were chatting with you. I dived into what happened with the farm store, and I'm really excited because Jess has had an incredible amount of stuff going on these last few months. More so, I feel like we're going to be a three-part episode on this one, it feels like. But first off, we're going to jump into kind of the I don't even know if I can say, Jess, that it's the biggest thing that you've had happen in this last little bit, but it's Market in the Mountains.
I guess that depends on how you quantify biggest.
It's you've had a lot. I'm really excited to dive into it. And the fun thing is that you guys, we didn't even fully catch up on these experiences. So you guys are kind of like hanging out with us while we talk about some of the things that have happened in these different things going on in our business for the first time because we've been so busy. We didn't just leave you guys hanging, we kind of left ourselves hanging on this as well.
To the point that my children wanted to come in and make sure they could say hi to Aunt Kendall because they were like, we don't even know what she looks like anymore. The drama was
I
real.
know I'm like living through seeing the videos and stuff in your stories. Otherwise, that's
Oh, I'm so sorry that you've been sorely let down as I have been so quiet online. Comparatively
comparative. Yeah, for
speaking,
sure.
like compared to August of last year to now, it's been real sparse.
So let's jump in our time machine and travel back to September of last year. That's a really long time. Let's travel back to September. Jess,
Ugh.
give me a little bit of a rundown on Market in the Mountains this year.
I mean, it was record setting. From an outside perspective, metrics wise, we set records for attendance, we set records for sales. We broke, well, we didn't break, we met our projections for the grant that I think I talked to you guys about that had applied for and gotten. That was how we got our billboard last year. So obviously we did something right. And I think in general, it was a it was a success.
Did it feel more difficult this year with having been able to break all of those different records for the event itself? Did it feel like more?
Yes and no. I think every year that we've done it, I've gotten more streamlined and less unsteady. Like when things hit, I'm much more apt to just like be able to handle it. But for example, on paper, I knew we had increased our vendors almost a third more. We went from 100 last year to or like 103, 104 to like 152 vendors.
Mhm.
And I knew that you and I had spent a considerable time on the Friday checking them in.
Yep.
So we hit the same day Friday, and I had two of my girlfriends. So this is how good you are, right? Like I knew you weren't going to make it, which I'm still sad about. But
I
your
know.
pocketbook probably thanks you
Oh
a
my
lot.
gosh, well, yeah, but Christmas shopping this year was terrible because I had to do Christmas shopping. I had to, like, go to the mall.
I hope all your family was like, "What the
They
heck?
were really let down.
This is not our normal." Um, so I knew you weren't going to be there to be able to help me, and I was like, "Shoot, we are down to a well-oiled machine. Like our
Mhm.
left hand picks up what the right hand drops, and away we run." So I got two of my girlfriends that one of which has previous market experience, the other one has some event experience. So nothing. Oh, it's not like we were throwing them in cold turkey, and they were amazing. It took us, we started at 7 a.m. We didn't stop checking people in until after 6 o'clock at night. I
That's
don't,
wild.
I don't think I understood like how increasing that many would physically take up that much more time. And when I say don't talk, I mean the girls picked up, we had like a little pop-up tent and our
Mhm.
check-in and like stop here and everything was flagged out. And I was standing there, but the way we had the tent set up, it was on the passenger side, and I was finding myself on the driver's side of the vehicles to like talk to people.
Mhm.
And the girls actually physically picked up the entire pop up tent and moved it around over the top of me because they were like, "You're getting too much sun. You're getting really red. You need to sit down." It was intense. And my poor husband and everyone else, like we had normally in the past been able to do some prep work still on Friday. and I was not able to, and they were able to continue, but myself, I was not able to. When I tell you there was cars in line from 7 a.m. until after 6, did not stop.
Check-in is tough, and so I can't even imagine adding that many more vendors into that, because like, that is my cardio for the year when it is check-in, because I am, like, running people to their booth, not wanting them to be set like, they're in their cars, and I'm leaving that tent, and I am, like, in a full sprint to give them their because I just don't want people to go in the wrong spot, and then I have to sprint back because I
Mhm.
feel terrible that I left the next person in line to go. So I'm like just sprinting, like wind sprints the entire day. So I can't even imagine what that was like for you guys adding that many people.
We were even set up better than I feel bad for you, like, so sorry we learned our lesson. I bought on Amazon a 10 radio set with different channels and earpieces, and it's kind of this cool little thing, which by the way, I love it. We'll put it in the show notes. It's when I tell you we use it all the time, not even just for market, but all the time. My dear friend Cassie was pregnant that was helping me, one
Oh,
of them. And we had it set up to where I was checking the cars in, radioing their spot ahead to Kelsey. Kelsey was directing them down which lane they needed to turn. And then Cassie was at the end putting them in their exact spot and being like, here's your two flags. You, number 53, are between
yeah.
flag 53 and flag 53. So we weren't even having to like come back and get a car and then walk forward and whatever. And still the line at sometimes was over an hour and a half wait for check-in, which
Wow.
I felt really bad about, but I did have my kiddos. They run water and chocolates and sunscreen up and down the line. Anytime the line got really long, they would come by and check on you and just be like, they're trying to go as fast as they can. So that was a lot. But what I guess I should back up a little bit. So we were doing we were doing really good. My husband took 2 full weeks off to help me set for market. I was able to take a full week off, which was good. Everything was going great. We were tracking ahead of where we were at on my list, my master list, and we this year had to get some really big rentals, like the huge generators with spider cables and massive amounts of power because the little generators last year kept giving us fits. And I was like, I'm done with that. I will pay the extra money. We can't have power issues. And so I had rented these huge, like, tow behind generator, like the whole trailer thingamabopper. So those were delivered and extra tents were delivered. We had more tents delivered, which we've never done before. Set them up. The guys were great. They even looked at our tent. They were like, "Yeah, it looks good. You did great. We don't put these up, but these look great." I'm like, "Awesome." I was in town. Had to have been Wednesday.
Oh, I forgot about
Mhm,
this.
mhm.
Oh no.
So
Enough times passed that I'm like forgetting about the emergencies. You guys, I'm living this in real time with you.
I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, "How have I forgotten that that happened?" I'm in town. I'm doing like our last blow through of like need to get things. So stuff for the VIP tent. I always put little baskets out anywhere there's porta potties and anyone either tent camping or vendors. I try to put out little baskets that have everything you could have forgotten that would make your life miserable. Like there's hair ties, there's tampons, there's band-aids, there's chapstick, there's eye I have contacts, so like eyes
Yeah, the eye
droppers,
drops.
stuff. Yeah. So I try to like pack boxes like that and then I just set it with a little mirror next to the porta potties. And so I was running around just getting like random stuff. And I had told my husband when I was going to be home, we were on it and communicating, and my truck bed was full. And I get a 911 text, which we as first responders don't typically use 911 very often. And then my phone starts blowing up, and it was on Do Not Disturb. It's always on Do Not Disturb. I'm so sorry for all of you that have ever tried to get a hold of me. It's really hard to.
It
And he
is.
starts blowing up my phone. And I'm like, what's happening? And he calls and he's like, we had a micro burst of wind. We knew there was some high winds. We were actually really worried about the weather in the lead up to it because it was showing rain, no rain, rain, no rain, whatever, all the things. Had talked about the winds, but I really didn't think anything was going to be bad enough. And he's like, no, our tent's down. And I'm like,
Oh.
what do you mean our tent is down? What I don't understand what that means. And he's like, the whole thing ripped out of the ground and flew across our tables that I had hand built. And he's like, I can't tell you how bad it is because we can't even get the tent up until we can't even get it like off and out. It's so tangled up in things until we get the tractor down here to rip it off of
Oh,
whatever it is. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, that was our only shade outside of, so we had a VIP tent set up, we had a bar tent set up, and then we had that tent for like people that were eating food to be able to get in and out of the shade, because that was one of the big complaints last year was that there just wasn't enough shade cover.
yeah.
And he sent me a picture, and I remember thinking like, well, that doesn't look that bad, forgetting that it takes like 6 dudes and a jig on the tractor that has to be custom installed on the loader of the tractor to be able to lift the poles. It's a whole nightmare. It's an awful tent to set up, but I got a good deal on it. Let this be your lesson that maybe a good deal on things will cost you later in life.
Isn't that such a good lesson? There have been so many times through business that I have tried to like maybe get the deal or take the cheap way of doing something or whatever it is. And then it always ends up being that I wish I had just invested a little bit more. And I know that's not always possible, but that's always been a good learning.
Yeah, I think hindsight 2020
Uh huh.
is it's always easy to see where you should have spent the money, but also we didn't know we had another type of tent before this that had failed, but it was a different design. And so we had never put up the type of tent that we watched the rental company put up. So we saw them putting their tents up and we're like, dude, 2 guys, no lifts, no special equipment. Like, what magic is this? And the guy was like, yeah, these are really nice. You should look at these. And we showed him what we had, and he's like, oh, yeah, those
Best of
suck.
luck.
Yeah. Like, you guys did what? And CJ's over there showing him like the video of the jig that my dad made. This jig is
Yeah.
like 30 feet tall. It's like a monster bombing across the pasture when he has it on the tractor. And the guy's just like, well, I mean, that's super smart. That's like farmer ingenuity right there. But like, that sucks. And I'm like, yeah, it does.
Hmm.
Thank you. So I'm in town. We realize we're getting close to the end of the day on Thursday. Thursday, yes. I'm frantically calling the rental company to see if they can get back out with more tents. And the crappy part of all of this is at that time I'm watching then my profits just fly out the window because my tent was already paid for. I didn't have to pay for it. When you start calling for an emergency last minute drop off of extra, and tents are not cheap to rent, you're watching thousands of dollars just fly out. But there's no choice. Like,
There's
to
no
me,
choice.
there's no choice. I'm sure I could have been like, sucks to suck, enjoy the sun.
No, there isn't a choice in that
There
matter.
wasn't. And so you just kind of have this like, well, hope the credit card goes through. I say that not because there wasn't enough room on the credit card, but because the day before STCU had shut off my card because they had charged too much. My daily limit had gotten hit or whatever. And I'm
Yeah,
like, you don't understand. I put on one big event once a year. Like, don't put a daily limit on my card because I'm going to blow through it when all of those like day of charges hit.
for sure.
I was so mad. I was so mad. So I had fought with my bank the day before. I'm praying it will go through the same day. I'm calling A to Z. They're like, hey, we have no tents at the north side, which is where I was. We have tents an hour away in the valley, which puts me 2 hours behind where I was at on my timeline. When I tell you guys my timeline is scripted for that week, like 9 a.m. here, 11 a.m. here, back by 2 p.m. here to do this here, to do, like, it's so scripted. They're like, we got him in the valley. And I'm like, you guys can't deliver him and set him up. And they're like, we're certain you know you can do this. Like, we have faith. You could do this. Come get the tents. You can do it. The guy that set your
You are
tent up is back.
Jessica freaking Garza.
They're just like, girl, we got you. Get over here. We will help, whatever. I
Mhm.
show up. I have no room in my truck because I had already picked up all this crap. So I'm just like,
Oh,
I look like what are those
yeah,
people with the crap that driving down the road, big
yeah.
pickup, all the thing. Anyways, I double triple check with a guy. I'm like, dude, I got all the pieces. Like, I cannot come
I
back to the
can't come
valley.
back
I
for this.
cannot, like, this has to. And he's like, yeah, check, all the things. We get back. It's after dark. I called some friends. I like, cause we have no idea. And we're just like, we need help. Like, this was
Mhm.
unplanned for. We're behind now. We're screwed. We got to get these up. I told CJ, I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to help you tomorrow. Like it's check-in day. Anyways, we ended up calling it for the night. We unloaded them, called it for the night, got up. So check-in started at 7. As soon as daybreak hit at like 5 something, we were out there putting together tents. And then I realized that the tent was missing a piece or broken a piece. Something was wrong with the peak of it. I can't remember. There was or a cap, a little thing that
Oh
like I don't know.
no.
We got the tent set up. And the whole time made me so mad. CJ's like, oh, I don't know why we didn't get this type of tent. These are way better than the tent we had. And I'm
Oh,
like,
can we just not right now? Read the room.
the one, the one day or one weekend, I guess it's a weekend tent
Mhm.
rental of these tents cost more than our entire tent cost to purchase, honey. That's why we don't
That's
have
why we
these
don't.
tents. So
Oh man.
I will say he held it together. They yeeted that tent top off of my tables. Not a single table was damaged, which I was really worried about because when the tent goes, like those are really heavy poles. There is metal attached to the end of every one of the stakes that's tied off, like these
Mhm.
huge metal screws in the ground that ripped out. None of them broke anything. So I'm like, okay. And then check-in day happened. And later I would find out I just had lunch with her and she's like, Jess, what are you thinking for next year? Anyways, we're talking and I was like, what's up? And she goes, well, we sat in that check-in line and we were like, holy crap. It's not ending. And there was people stacking up behind us and I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, I don't know. I don't know that I have a solution for that. But it was really long. It was really, really, really hot. Most of the people were kind. There was a few that were not very nice, and there was a few that didn't think they needed to drive slow or watch for my children or anyone else's children for that matter. Um I hate that. I
So
hate
do I.
that so much. I'm like, do you see me out here? It's not like I was sitting in my house with the air conditioning on, chomping on bonbons, like, best of luck, queen. Have fun, find your space. Like going. No, I had people like personally escorting you to your spot, asking if you needed anything. We had tools designated. Like if you had a gopher mound in your booth and you wanted to like shovel it out, you could come get a shovel from me if you didn't have it. I mean, I try to have water, candy, snacks, all the stuff there.
I will say, sorry, I have to. I will say, as somebody who's managed a ton of markets, somebody who's been a vendor at a ton, like I used to, for those who don't know, I used to go to four farmers markets a week, and I'm talking big ones like Vancouver, where there's 100 vendors. Like I'm not talking about my small ranching community of 171. I'm talking about like Vancouver, BC. So big markets, and I have never seen a market manager as organizer who cares more about the vendors who are going. And I was a market manager, and I've never seen somebody have like trying to make sure that they've supplied or have on hand everything that you might need, which is really a vendor's responsibility in the first place, but Jess still wants to make sure. So,
I mean, I feel for people because we're so far out here. If you don't have something, you're going to lose at a minimum 2.5 hours to get
mhm.
whatever it is that you need if you have to go to like the big city. And so I just try. There was some moments in that I was just like, hmm, this makes the, emergency run to get the tents and the exhaustion. Like
Yeah.
it's so easy to ride through and push through, just like the overwhelm and the exhaustion and the pain points when the the vibe is that good. I don't know, the
Mhm.
vibe, the energy, the community space is there. That is what to me is like I can get through anything if everyone's pulling together. I look back, was it 2 years ago that we had the guy that had traveled in from, I don't know, Wyoming or something like that. And
Yeah.
he was a vendor and he set his booth up and then was like, hey, I'm here. I work really hard. And like,
Mhm.
what do you need a strong back for? And I'm like, I don't expect you to help me finish setting. He's like, girl, get out of the way. I'm helping your husband. Move, 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 move. I got this. And he worked till like the lights were shut off.
Are you
That tent,
talking about Austin?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he helped so
It's
much.
amazing. And that's when you're like, "Oh, we can do one more thing. We can make this
Yeah.
better. We can do all the things." But when people are nasty to you, it's like, mm.
Yeah.
Especially, like,
You
guys.
maybe don't get to come next year because when you ruin the vibe on yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, if you think we're not taking notes the entire time, like,
Uh-huh.
we are. Okay, so Friday was really long. We did good, though. I mean, I think it was fine. I had to come back after dark, and I had to finish the skull. So I didn't have the skull
Yeah.
done because I don't know, it didn't.
'Cause it was a lot of work.
That cow skull, I don't know if you realize from pictures, like, it's like 9 feet tall. I couldn't
Uh-huh.
even put the horns on in the garage. I had to assemble, like, anyways, it was, if you're just listening, you didn't see the photos of it. Basically, I was inspired by a girl who makes giant disco sculptures to make a giant cow skull sculpture because we were a week later, we didn't know if we would have fresh florals or not. So in the week leading up to market, that's also what I was doing was I went down and like arranged. Actually, I didn't. Well, okay, so I was supposed to go pick flowers and then the tent extravaganza happened and I had to call and beg the flower farmer and pay extra for her team to cut the flowers because I normally cut the flowers. And I'm so thankful that she did because there's no way that I would have. There's no way. So, anyways, 3-dimensional, 9.5 foot tall, gold leafed skull. Which, pro tip, hair foils and spray adhesive will stick to the purple foam board that you can carve with a sawzall and a heat. They're like heat knife thing.
The way my family was invested in that project for you, and my husband was like, "Oh my." Jay was like, "What do you mean she's making a three-dimensional sculpture the week of market?" He's like, how does she have the time for this?
She
How
didn't.
did she become artistic? Like, what?" I'm like, "Oh, no, she was always artistic." And I was like, every time you'd send me a picture, I would group chat it to Jay and Jagger because Jagger was also heavily invested.
I didn't know if it would work, so I spent $600 on foam boards. Those are not cheap at Home Depot, and the lady that was helping me was just like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Just put the foam boards in. If you want to see what happens, just follow me at Moose Valley Ranch." Like, that's just follow me online. And she's invested, and she's like, "What are you?" And I'm loading adhesive in. So, also, fun fact: do not use glue like caulking
Uh-huh.
gun glue in between the layers. That has to be spray adhesive that won't stick. And I found out because I glued them and I found out because I had needed to glue. So to make it 3-dimensional, you have to put enough layers in it that you can carve the dimensions out of it. So it was like 16 sheets of foam board, 8 tall, 2 wide. And I was caulk gunning glue in between the sheets and then pushing them down, and then we stacked heavy stuff on them to get them to glue together, and I waited 2 days, 2 very valuable precious days by the way, for it to set, and then I lifted the heavy stuff off and then I picked up the things and the glue like cuz it hadn't set. So
No.
then I had to wipe the glue off as
Oh,
fast as I
no.
can. Picture me in the garage, like a very dirty garage already,
Oh my
with
god,
like
Jess.
paper towels that are stuck to my hands as I'm wiping the glue off because I'm not
No.
I'm not buying another
No,
$600 worth
no.
of foam board. So like this foam board has to recover. Thank God I bought extra cans of the adhesive. So anyways, by the time we got to check-in day and I had the carving part was super fun. If you've never carved foam board and you need something lightweight and like cool, try it because it's like for a $50 thing on Amazon for the foam. Very satisfying to carve it. Very satisfying. I did end up cutting my finger pretty badly with the Sawzall though. That was cool. Yeah.
Did you break your finger right
Mm-hmm.
before market too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I knew that. I wasn't just imagining that.
Yeah, I have a scar under my thumb from the Sawzall. CJ caught me in the garage in flip flops and yoga pants over the top of the foam board with the Sawzall on the cement floor. And he was just like, "What world was that a good idea?" And it was all good until it cut me. And then I had to stop for a while. But yes, I also, the weekend before market, very stupidly was in a rush and I went to get off the tractor with my finger in the way you get off this tractor is like the loader tubing is right there, and I grabbed it instead of grabbing the outside. I stuck my finger inside the tubing and stepped down too fast, and I ended up almost degloving my finger. I have a gnarly scar down the top of it where I like ripped the skin off the top side of it. Thank
Mhm.
God I didn't have a ring on. Pretty sure I broke it. The crunch made me nauseous. And then my dad was like, basically, you dumb bleep.
Mhm.
And I'm like, no, I'm sure it's fine. Like every time I think something's broken, it's not. So I'm sure it's fine. Yeah. Turns out a week after market, maybe 2 weeks after market, I went in, it was broken. Um, so sorry, back on track here. Gold leafed the skull. So picture me not only wiping adhesive with paper towels stuck to my own hand, I was like, stuck together. Then when you're adhesiving, I wanted it to look like gold leaf, but like I wasn't paying for 8.5 feet of sculpture gold leaf. So I thought hair foils. I don't even know where that came. I think I was watching Meg from Lux Salon's stories, and they had like pretty foils, like they use very bougie.
When you told me that that was your plan, I am not gonna lie, I had doubts that that was going to come together.
You
But
didn't say anything.
you're right, because I couldn't come down, and so then I didn't wanna be like, that's, like, the worst backseat driving. Because normally I'm down the week before market with you, and when you decide to arts and crafts something, I'm at least there to, like, help out or load the foam boards in the car or something for you, and so I did not wanna, like, backseat drive from an entire other country and be like, "Nah, I don't think that's gonna work."
I think
That
I
didn't
was
seem very supportive.
I think I was randomly sending you photos with like
You
no
were.
context and
You
not
were.
responding to questions.
And I was like
Just like boom there, that's where we're
and
at today.
and I told Jay that you were gonna use and, like, Jay, like, cars and stuff where you would use
Oh
gold
yeah.
leaf, he's, like, very into hot rodding and all that kinda stuff, he's very good at that kinda stuff, he's like, "I'm sorry, what? She's gonna put the foils, like, the things that you put in your hair when you go get your hair done?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "Those, like, metal things in your hair?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, and she's gonna think that was gonna look like gold leaf." He was shook by how great it turned out.
Spoiler alert, it turned out really good. I mean,
Fantastic.
not so great if you got super close to it, but the point was not for you to get super close to it. The point was for it to be a beautiful backdrop photo.
And a photo moment, and it looked incredible for exactly what it was supposed to be.
It did. I wish the horns had been longer. That was something I wanted, but unfortunately, mechanically wise, the
Mhm.
weight of the I ended up having to cut them after they broke, and I like trimmed them down. But yes, spray adhesive. So you have to hold it on your hand, spray it, wait for it to get tacky, and then push it on. That's the trick. Can't spray the adhesive, the gold that's already on, because the adhesive then gives it like look,
Mhm.
eh. So you have to hold it on your hand. So picture me 230 230 foils of spray adhesive on my arm, like the hair on the
Oh.
inside of my arm covered in adhesive, and it's like 2 in the morning, and CJ's, I'm at the back door, knock knock knock, can you let me in so I can get in the shower and bring me some Dawn, because I had brought me Dawn, Goof Off, peanut butter. I wasn't sure what was gonna get it off my arm.
Oh my god. But
It
it
was
looked great. It did the job.
I tell you, I get delusional. Like I seriously think to myself, yes, you've never sculpted anything in your life. Of course, you can make an 8 foot, 9 foot, whatever it was, tall skull with horns and a floral install using products you've never used, techniques you've only ever seen in a 90-second Instagram reel. That's how I found this crap. Is I follow this girl. I say crap. It's not crap, but I follow her, and I watched one of her reels, and I was like, oh yeah, I can do that.
But you do that all the time. Like, you do that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be there, you guys, in the garage. There would have been no prior planning to the fact that she was gonna create this giant lettered saying thing on a drop sheet and everything, and it
Oh
was just
yeah.
like, "No, we got the stuff for that. Let's do it. Let's do it."
It's the
And
worst that happens.
it's like there's so much stuff still to do, and then she'll be like, "We got time. It's 1 a.m. What do you mean? We got lots of time. Market starts tomorrow. We're good."
She's referencing the Wild Like the West sign, if any of you have seen that in the background of
And
photo drops.
CJ's nervously making eye contact with me from across the garage, and he wants out, and I also think it's a terrible idea because she needs to go to bed, and we're, like, nervous, and then CJ walks away because he's like, "I'm getting out of here." And then I'm, like, trying to research sayings on Pinterest to make this all faster.
I tell you what though, that projector has come in handy so many times. So I have like a decent at-home projector. We used it for our movie theater picnics when I had a pop-up picnic business. And I no longer do picnic businesses or pop-up movie theaters, but I use that projector all the time in arts and crafts. So if you've ever wanted to make a really showy backdrop for really really cheap, well, it's not cheap if you have to buy the projector, but if you have a friend with a projector, grab a drop cloth from Harbor Freight for like 20 bucks for the big ones, like the huge ones, you
Mhm.
guys. And then projector, Canva, the saying you want on it, trace it in Sharpie, paint it in acrylic black paint. It'll look kind of distressed and sort of westerny. Bam. That's my favorite.
So many people stood in front of that dang drop cloth at market that year, and I was like, "Oh, every time she's gotta prove me wrong." Every time.
What's hilarious too is I don't know if you caught it. We used it again this year in the
I
VIP
saw
tent.
I saw that.
Yeah. And there was just as many photos. And I love and it lived on the
It
floor
looks
of my
great.
garage. Like we wiped the dog's paws on it for a whole year and then I hosed it off the day before market and I was like, "Oh, I think that'll look good in the VIP tent. We should do that."
No, it looked great.
Somewhat of this, you guys, is just pure delusional. That truly is like my people want to know my secret. And I'm like, I'm just delusional. I just think at 2 a.m. Why, yes, I can gold leaf this 9 foot skull. And I'm sure the flowers will look beautiful. And I'm sure this is all going to work out. So the morning of market, nobody knew what I was working on. I hadn't revealed it yet. And we set our alarm extra, extra early before it was even daylight. And picture me in the freezing cold because it was kind of getting chilly at that point, holding a 9 foot tall skull in the back of the pickup as CJ drove us around to deposit it at the grand entry. He was very nervous, but it worked and I
There's
did it.
so many of those nervous mobile trying to get all the things you've built over to the market.
It sucks because it's nothing like it doesn't stay. Every year you are building an entire city in the middle of a hayfield. And I don't think people realize how much work it is and how hard it is when you have nothing that you're anchored to. That is a big struggle.
And I think because you've built market, and, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't wanna speak for you, but what I've noticed is you've built and set such a precedence to have something, like, big
Mhm.
and unique each time that, yes, some of the framework, like the back end with Dubsado and, like, some of those
Right.
frameworks of, like, how you do things to get people to market is somewhat rinse and repeat on some of like the standard operating procedures developed through the years of just figuring it out and trying to make it go faster. But the actual market itself, you change a lot every year. Like you change the layout because of how fast you've grown, the parking changes, the driving in changes. And like it would be awesome if you could kind of like set those in stone, but because you've grown so much every year, there's been so much that has not even been able to stay the same. But then add on that, you're like, ombre flowered arches one year, giant like golden whatever. It's like there's no recipe for the creative end that you want to put in because you are searching for that, Instagram, like that picture that everybody takes
Mhm.
and that you see when you open up Instagram and it's like, market arches, and it's just like your arch is the thing that everybody took pictures of that year, just like the skull was the thing that everybody, I mean, I was at home in the bathtub trying to follow along on Instagram on the hashtag for Market in the Mountains and being like, look, everyone's taking pictures in front of it.
Oh, thank God they did. I would have been so mad if they didn't. No, I think that has been a big growth challenge is every single year we have moved market entirely. Like every single year up until this last year, it has been in a completely different location with a different parking setup, with a different entry setup, with a different layout of things because we would see what didn't work the year before and to meet where we were projecting, we would have to change it so drastically that what I did before wouldn't work. And like you said, there were some things that would but it's hard, and there's only so much you can do ahead of time before it's like you can't do it until a certain point. And so it makes it a big time crunch. I will say I think we're getting faster. Okay, so this is where I was really sad that you weren't there. When you and I lay out and we've got like three 400-foot tapes and diagrams and notes and vendor
Mhm.
lists, and we are actually marking out like this is their 11 feet, this is their trailer space, this is their whatever. We're so fast at it. And this year I had to teach my husband how to do it.
Ooh, I was like, "Ooh, I hope CJ's got this." Like, I love you, bro, but I hope you got this.
To be fair, I really tried to break it down in a way that I thought he would understand by laying it out like a crime scene, like a traffic diagram,
Mhm,
because we
mhm.
always do a T old school style. If all your computers are broken, that's how you mark evidence is with a T. You run a long line and then you get your down how far off the long line, whatever. I tried. It didn't work. He at one point threw a clipboard across the field and was just like, "I don't effing know what you're doing." And I'm like, "It's literally just add by 11. Like just go from here to 11, count the next one out."
I mean, in CJ's defense, you and I have fought about laying out market
Oh
too.
god.
Like,
Yeah.
we fought once, and that was like I was setting up markets all like, every week for an
Uh-huh.
extended amount of time. So, like, if you've never done it,
Oh yeah.
like, we had done it multiple years in a row together, but then I also had years of experience of actually laying out a market, and we still fought, like,
Yeah.
good we had a goodie that one
Yeah.
time, and then CJ had to apologize to me. I was like, "Don't apologize on behalf of your wife."
She needs to apologize.
She has
No,
to apologize.
it's really hard for me. Like I said with the field, like there's no reference points. So I
It
think
is tough.
that's the hardest part of trying to envision the flow and where the lines are going to be, and you feel like you're so far from the next thing, but then you're thinking in your head's like, okay, Saturday at noon though, when everyone wants lunch, the food lines are going to be like, I'm not worried about Sunday at 2 food lines. I'm worried about Saturday at noon food lines. I'm worried about bathrooms, moms trying to get to the bathrooms from the corn pit. The bathrooms need to be close enough that the moms can still see the kids, because if they're standing in line for a bathroom, I don't want them to not be able to see their kids. Anyways, it's a whole, and it's just like it's like throwing a dart at a unlit backboard. Like you just hope you're hitting it right, but he did really good. We recovered. It took us almost 8 hours to lay out just the 153 spots to mark them out, because we're so precise about that, because the rows and the white tents are so incredibly important to like the market itself. So we got to Saturday morning, and I think it was the most detached I felt from a market so far. Like up until this year, it has always felt like wildly personal to me, and it did not feel super personal this time. I don't know if that was just the sheer size of it that I didn't get those like moments of closeness, but
Interesting.
I mean, it worked. It was great. I saw people I knew. I ran, I put fires out. I mean, at one point I was taping shitters full over the porta potties when they were full. I doubled the number of porta potties from last year to this year, like doubled, and had them pumped in between in the evening on Saturday and Sunday. It still wasn't enough.
That's the thing that's so hard about something like this is that, yes, you sell tickets in advance,
Mhm.
but you have no idea, like, when it comes down to it, how many people are gonna show up and buy their tickets at the door, and the
Mhm.
fact that every year, like, it's just grown more and more and more, and then this year you had the billboards, which really throws something in there that, like, you can't be prepared for, to know what those types of things are gonna need, like, how many porta potties, how many of this, that's a lot.
Yeah, and I think I we added more this year to keep people there, in the sense that we sold out, actually shut off camping tickets because I was afraid where we had planned for camping, which in fact we did, that we were going to run out of room, because I don't make vendors buy a camping ticket. I say vendors are first come first serve, and then I had like an X number of camping tickets. I had a spot laid out, wasn't enough room in the spot. Game time decision, moved them back over to the other side as well. So we had actually two full camping lots. And I knew that if that many people were traveling, and I'd been getting so many messages of like, we're flying in, we're staying here. Granite Point Resort is like one of our partners, and they were telling me they were selling out. They were full. This was amazing. And so I'm like, holy crap, people are out here, and they're out here for the whole weekend. And if you've never been to Springdale, there is nothing else to do. Like there is no downtown to go shopping at. There is no bars to. There is a bar. I won't hang out at it.
Okay, to give you guys perspective, when I cross the border into the US border guard asks me where I'm going, and I'm like, "I'm going to Springdale, Washington." And every time, it doesn't matter. He's like, "Why?" Every
Yeah,
time. He's like,
why would you
"Why
go
are
there?
you going there?"
Yeah, there's just nothing out here. And so I tried to add enough stuff that when people were coming for the weekend, there was a reason for them to be not just shopping, but like there was a reason for them to be there. Oh, I want to hit Cowgirl Church in the morning, so I'm going to come and then we're going to shop again. Or I'm coming down for the ranch race and I'm going to, you know, stay for the concert Saturday night. And so I think that was hard to plan for like how long people were going to be there for. Food is always hard. Food vendors want you to have less food vendors and people want you to have more food vendors.
Oh, that is like the worst.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm gonna say it because it's not my market, so I can say it. Just in as having done markets, I know how much food vendors hate having other food vendors.
Mhm.
It's like more than any other vendor category, they do not want more food vendors, even if they don't have capacity to handle the number of people. It's like they just don't want.
Yeah, it I took a beating on that because I pretty much if it was a decent looking food vendor, I let them in because I'm
Mhm.
like we did not have enough the last year. That's the one thing that I hear a ton from people that are attending is that they wanted more options and they wanted more food. And so I struggled with that. And I have such guilt. Maybe guilt. No, guilt is the right word. I want it to be the best market sales wise that they've ever had. Like I do. I want that for every single vendor. I truly do. I just also have to balance the user experience. And when I'm hearing from that many people, like, we want more food, and there's no restaurants out here. It's not like at the fairgrounds in town where if you don't want to wait in line, you can just hop over to the McDonald's or you can stop for dinner on the way home. There's nothing out here. And so I let everyone in. And I took it on the chin at the end to the complaints from people, food vendors about that. There's definitely a couple that won't come back because they closed up early, and that's a big no-no for me. Is like at least stay open and talk to people,
Yeah.
give out your business card, but don't just like close up shop and leave. And so that's hard. You just feel like there's no right answer, and
And there isn't, because the thing
yeah.
is that if you don't do that, then shoppers don't come back the following year. And
Hmm.
then vendor sales, it doesn't even matter because then vendor sales are also not it. So it's
Yeah.
always, and I think having been a vendor and having been a market manager, it's just vendors oftentimes we look at that and oftentimes we forget that like it really matters what the consumer feels like. Yeah, that sucks for us when that's happening, but you're never going to have good sales year after year at a market if you're not catering to what the consumer needs. Like, yes, you need to make sure that your vendors are happy, but
Mhm.
vendors are happy when sales happen, and therefore you need to keep the consumers coming back.
Yeah, yes. I hate it though. It makes me feel bad. It does. Like I don't
Of
know.
course.
I catch a lot of obviously my phone hears me talk about markets and vendors a lot, and so I see a ton of those threads and Instagram captions and stuff where people are upset or frustrated, and I'm always like low key lurking like is there a lesson I can learn from someone else that then I don't repeat or make that mistake. But then there's other times where I just want to be like, have you ever planned a market? Have you ever been
Yeah.
on the flip side of this? Because I don't think you understand. And I hear them a lot say, like, greedy event coordinators don't market, don't do this, just there to cash grab. If you charge for this, you shouldn't charge for that, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe I'm the exception to the rule. I don't think I am. I cannot tell you how much I care about all sides of it. Like, I truly want the best experience for the consumer. I truly want the best experience for the vendor. I'm heartbroken when it doesn't work out. I've had to get a little bit tougher about just saying, that's not my wheelhouse. If I hear from one vendor that they had record sales and another vendor in the same category is complaining about their competition,
Yeah. There needs to
like,
be onus.
well, and I always usually it used to be, right? Like our first couple years, we could walk around and we could tell you before the end of market, we could tell you who was going to not be happy because they were sitting down in their booth with their head down on their phone, or the face behind the market that they checked in with would go in to try to buy something and they couldn't be bothered to sell me something. And I still used to take it personally when they would come or bitch or leave a nasty comment or send me a, DM after the fact about how disappointed they are, and I would still feel really bad.
Can I interrupt quickly? If you want to learn how to show up well at a market, we did a podcast episode on that in season 1, and we will link to it in the show notes with just tips from a very seasoned market manager, Jess, and a very seasoned market vendor, me. And we just talked about from both perspectives the things you can do to make sure that you really are making money at
Mhm.
markets and doing the best that you can so that as a vendor, when you show up, you have the best chance, no matter what market you're going to, of really making it a success.
I should just make it mandatory for people to listen to that or to take any number of courses that it's mind-boggling to me. But at the end of the day, it comes down to personal accountability. And I have had to kind of recognize when someone's like not taking accountability for
Yeah.
themselves and not finding growth and then blaming me because it's easier to blame me. It's easier to blame me. And that I have to remind myself that if we broke my attendance goals, then I made the effort in marketing and advertising. Uh, if you didn't get the sales, it was because of something that broke down between the time the person walked through the gates and they got to your booth.
And one thing that I give you a lot of credit for is how much time you take in vendor selection. Like, I don't think people realize that behind the scenes you are putting in so much effort. And there have been times where you've sent me like a vendor and been like, hey, can you check this vendor out and give me your thoughts on it? And it's not, and it's you're sending it to me because the vendor is so good, but you're just worried that they might not be so good for your customer that comes to market
Mhm.
and the shopper that usually comes, because they could be the best vendor with the best product, and if it just doesn't align with who's coming to market in the mountains, they won't be successful, and it won't be either of your fault. So you put a lot of time in trying to make sure that if you're bringing somebody and you're saying yes, that they're going to be a good fit for the shoppers that are going to be there. And sometimes that means, unfortunately, too, is like making somebody feel like, if you turn them down, it's not
Mhm.
always a reflection of like the quality of what they're doing either.
Yeah, that's a hard one. That is the same with the travel long distances. I've let in ones that have traveled really long distances before, and I gotta say I'm not a fan at this point of that. Which sucks because there's some things where there isn't anyone local that matches what they do or how they are. But man, that's putting a lot of pressure on yourself to have huge travel costs on top of a vendor fee because there is a fee. And you got to make money. You have to make it make sense. And so I feel like that's hard. So anyways, I don't think I had as much time in front of the vendors as I normally do. I didn't even hardly get to like walk the rows. We had massive internet problems. I'm going to take that back. I was very, very clear in multiple emails leading up to the event that we had never had issues before, like in
Hmm.
general, but we are very far out in the country. This is the cell service provider I have and use, and I strongly suggest that you pre-check whether you're going to have service or have another option or bring your hotspot Wi-Fi, whatever it was, Starlink, something. I communicated that across very, 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 very clearly. And we had three on Saturday morning, three Starlinks up. and people couldn't make transactions. They couldn't get out. People couldn't get out on their cell phones. They couldn't because that's what they were running off of.
Mhm.
We got a fourth Starlink up by Saturday afternoon thanks to an emergency run to a buddy's hunting cabin. Like that's the franticness that we were going. People were texting me left and right because I had told them like these Starlinks are going up, but I want you to try your system
Yeah.
first because
Yeah.
this is only for people that truly cannot make a single sale. Then I will give you the Starlink. The way my phone was blowing up the whole time, and I'm like, there's no way these Starlinks are going to support this. So we did. I actually got stopped at one point from a guy that was like, had I'm an IT guy. I can't help but notice you're having some issues. Might I make some suggestions? And I was like, please, by all means, tell me what can I do. And he's like, so Starlink, and I was like, I have four of them.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
have four Starlinks up in the air right now. And he was like, "You what?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I do. I like I don't know." And they were at four different points around the market, like
Yeah.
all the things. That part was awful. And I actually had shout out to the lady that organizes Bruno Cowboy Christmas came up, which first of all, like, oh my god, girl, you drove all the way up here. Like, that's so cool. Second of all, like I fangirled because Bruno Cowboy Christmas
Mhm.
and NFR, like my two biggest, like I want to be at their level. And she happened to come across me as I was almost in tears because a vendor's husband was being very rude to me over the whole Wi-Fi thing. And I was like, bro, sort it out. Sort it
Mhm.
out. Like, here is everything I've got. Here's all four Starlinks. Here's all the passwords. Here's all the options. Here's the workaround another vendor found. Like I said, had this huge long text message I was sending to everybody.
Mhm.
And he was so nasty to me. And I looked at her and I was like, what did I do wrong? Like, you've been doing this for, I don't know, 20, 30 years, however, like a really long time. Please tell me what I did wrong. Like, this is my fault. And she goes, did you contractually obligate yourself to provide internet? And I was like,
Nope.
no. I said, in fact, I sent emails saying that you need to be prepared for this. And she goes, then you need to not worry about it. She goes, you did everything you can. And I go, I got my mom's Starlink. I stole my Starlink from my house. I stole my buddy's Starlink. And she's like, you've done
That's not
everything.
on you.
But it feels like it
I Of
is.
course it does. Of course it
Yeah.
does. Of course it does. And
Yeah.
when it's your thing, it always does. And
Hmm.
you panic inside and try to figure it out and
Yeah. Yeah. That was rough. That was really rough. So I don't know if it was just there was also family stuff hitting the skids at that time. It really hit the skids the weekend before. I was in tears begging my parents to recognize that I wasn't the one making this difficult. I was just wanting my experience to be validated that I wasn't crazy and I wasn't causing this and I wasn't the one creating the issue. I mean, like my dad just telling me, just do whatever you have to do to get through this. And I'm like, this is the third market that we have sat here and said, just do whatever you have to do to get through this. Like, just suck it up, buttercup, and shut your mouth and say and do whatever you need to do to get the result that you need to get your event off. Like, the blame that felt like it was solely, it wasn't blame, that's not right. The responsibility that was
yeah.
thrown at me to make jump through hoops, bend over backwards, placate, bribe, sweet talk, all of the things for me to pull off an event that we had all known was coming this weekend for the entire year that had been talked about and planned about for months in advance then becomes this just sort of crisis management. Like, just, I know you don't like it. I know this isn't the way you wanted it done, but like, just suck it up. Like, what else?
Mhm.
You don't have any other options. That was all coming down the pipe that same week. And I don't know. I did not have as much fun. I didn't enjoy it. I missed you, quite frankly. Like
I know. I
I
felt
missed
so
you.
bad. And then I felt so bad because while I was sitting in the bathtub trying to look up social media content
I
and it
could
was
see.
not online because there
Yeah.
was not stuff being posted by you. I was like, "Oh my god, I hope everything's okay." Because I didn't want to bother you, but then I was trying to watch market unfold from afar, and then when I
Mhm.
didn't, because you were having internet problems, so you weren't like unnecessarily posting things
Mm-mm,
because you
mhm.
were letting your vendors be able to have that space to use internet. And I was just like, "Oh my goodness, I hope everything's okay."
Yeah, I told everybody that was on those Starlinks, like, they better be on their phones better be like on airplane mode where they
Yeah.
were only processing transactions. Like if I caught anybody scrolling on Instagram from their booth that was using my Starlink, I would have been so not that I would have caught them, but in
No.
my brain, I'm like, if you are posting an Instagram story right now and the vendor next door to you can't process a sale because you're posting an Instagram story, I will stab you in your eyeball.
Yeah.
And then there was just like there was so many moving pieces. There was VIP opening at 9, and I wanted to be there to greet them because like these women, they were lined up. They descended upon the VIP tent. They were shopping with lists. They had cut like there was a
Looking
whole thing.
glamorous.
Oh my god, the
Looking
fashion.
glamorous.
The fashion was amazing. I had a whole media team on site. I had Mari capturing content, getting me ready, photographing just the experience as a whole. I had content creators. We had paid for appearances from the first time ever I got to pay for appearances from influencers as part of our marketing grant. And so I was, when are they coming? Can I meet them? Who needs drink tokens? Then I had like every random friend through the year that I had been like, yeah, come find me at Market Girl. I'll give you the hookup, right? Like, cause I love you. And
Yeah.
wrong thing to say. No, it was great. And then, we had some hiccups. Like, was it Sunday? Did we do the ranch race on Sunday? I think it was Sunday.
I think it was
It was all
Sunday.
a blur. The gym that came and did it, the girls that did it, amazing. There was one, shout out to Alyssa if she listens to the podcast. She was like 9 months pregnant out there setting up a CrossFit ranch race. Girl was killing it. Yeah, well, none of us thought about the fact that probably someone needed to announce the race or it was going to be really quiet as you just heard a lot of huffing and puffing.
Yes.
Nobody thought about that.
Uh-huh.
No one. Not me, not them. That was nowhere in our prep. And to be fair, I did not give those girls a lot of prep work. I decided like a month before market, we should do this. Threw it on Instagram. They responded, girl, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, great. I ordered custom buckle trophies. Got that done. Check. They're like, what equipment do we have? I go, I don't know. Whatever's around the farm, we'll figure it out. Like Mark was dropping off Swather tires the morning of. It was the ranch race overall was amazing. Loved it. It was super fun.
I heard so much positive feedback
Yes.
about the ranch race.
No, it was great. It was great. I can see from now having done it how we can improve, streamline, make it so much better, make it more
Yeah.
engaging. To be honest, like the first guy, I'm so sorry. I'm sure he doesn't listen to the podcast. And if he does, I apologize. But the first guy out the gate running the race. So you sand buckets to tire flip to bale stacking, and the bales couldn't just be tossed across the line. You had to carry them over and stack them back up to run down and rope a dummy. And he was killing it. He was flying. He gets to the roping dummy.
Oh no.
35 tries later, I swear to God, he could not rope a dummy. He was obviously a CrossFitter and not a rancher.
Yeah.
We had Logan Gotham out there, and someone else, Mark, I think was his first name. I think those were his roping dummies. They actually started recoiling the ropes for people because they didn't even know how to like recoil the ropes to throw a loop. And they were kind of trying to give tips like, here, guys. So, anyways, we start. I gave like a little welcome. Here we go. And then I realized there was no one to hand the microphone off to. There was dead air and we could hear him wheezing. And I'm like, okay, just start tucking. And 2.5 later, your girl announced the entire ranch race, winging it the whole time, heckling the crap out of people. At one point, Carrie and Tyler from Bison Tire's son, Will, was running in the race, and they were not, so for sure they weren't a part of market because of some conflicts with dates. And I'm heckling, like, if you guys want to see Bison Tire on the side of these tires next year, like, Tyler, hit me up after the race. I mean, I was trying anything I could think of to talk about. Anything.
And the photos were so good of you announcing it.
I was in it.
Looked fantastic. You
I
looked
was in
real
it.
Committed.
Honestly, the girls that were in the row that could hear it, they were all like, what have you done? Do you like announce things? Have you done that? And I was like, no, that's my first time ever.
Delusional.
Totally ad lib. That's a delusional part of like, someone has to do this and I'm the one standing here with the microphone. It was so fun. It was really good. But we did, after that first guy, I was like, okay, new rule. 5 tries and then it's like breaking the barrier. We're adding 10 seconds. Like if you can't catch the calf after whatever, I don't know. I tied that all in somehow. It sounded very smart. Apparently the new neighbors that I moved in next door, he's now my farrier. Him and his wife came over and he ran the ranch. I didn't even know. that
That's fun.
met our new neighbors that way. And the girl that ended up winning, so we had a men's trophy and a women's trophy. The buckles on the trophies were functional. The girl that ended up winning the trophy, she had found me right before the ranch race. I was wearing a neon orange cowboy hat. You couldn't miss me. And she goes, "Do you know where the ranch race is?" And I was like, "Hey girl, I'm actually headed over there right now. Let's go get you checked in." And I go, are you excited?" And she's like, "I came down here just for this." And I'm like,
My gosh.
"Oh, like that was intense."
Intensity.
And she's yoked, right? Like you looking
Yeah.
at her, you're like, she's strong. And I'm like, "Dang, girl, okay, like let's get it." Get her all signed up. She blows away the competition. She was so impressive. So
Oh.
impressive. We have the cutest picture of them with their trophies. It was adorable. She ended up winning. Um, it just the whole thing was great. And then I saw her. She changed into the cutest little outfit, like
Oh.
a jean dress and
Yeah.
boots to go shop. And she was carrying her trophy. And I was like, this is the best thing ever. So I really love those. Definitely gonna do it again. Definitely gonna make a little bit of tweaks though. It was really surprisingly hot that day too. So we actually had someone go down. We ended up having to get the EMTs to run over. My son ran to. We had a oh, I'm totally blanking on their name, but they do like um IFAC kits and stuff for like outdoors
Okay.
survivalist
Yeah.
things, which I thought was really cool for the guys. And they're first responders, so we love that. And we actually ended up calling them and they brought their EMT kits over to like
Yeah.
check her out because she was refusing transport. And I was like, at this
Oh,
point, I would really
no.
like you to go to the hospital. This is why we
Yeah.
sign waivers, and they did, yeah, so that was fun. The fashion show was great. Bree with Fence Post and Co. set up such a good fashion show. If you don't know the backstory there, the first fashion show I'm not a fan of, never wanted to repeat. Didn't do it for, was it a year? 2 years? How
Yeah.
long did
At
I take
1 year
off?
for
Yeah,
sure.
1 year for sure, maybe two. And then I turned it over to Bree and I was like, girl, I trust you. Do whatever you need to do. She kept like texting me updates and I'm like, yep, you got this. You're doing great. But it was so cute. It was so good. There was full cowhide chaps and a like bustier top
Oh,
in it. And
so
then I
good.
saw that vibe at NFR in some
And you
girls'
were like,
photos. And I was
leave
like,
it
saw it at
there.
Market of the Mountains
Yeah.
first. Saw it at the Market of the
Beautiful.
Mountains
I love
first.
it.
So that was cool. And that was fun to see. And the fashion around the fashion show, the girls that showed up for the fashion
Mhm.
show, can I just say, if any of you are listening, I looked around and I was just like, this is so cool. Like girls dressed for that. Like they
Yes.
slayed. I saw this one girl with the coolest boots on. I don't know. I felt like I was stopping everyone and just being like, I just love your outfit. I
I
just
love
love
your
your, I just
outfit.
love your outfit. So that was fun. The slide pit was it was like the biggest hit with the kids and the biggest heart attack I've ever had in my entire life, watching kids fly down the slide into the corn pit because the plastic was, again, never built a hay slide. What does Jessica do? There's got to be a
Uh-huh.
plastics company that makes sheeting that I can put up, right? We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Yeah, we did. It was really fast.
Yeah. And so your first responder ness would have just been like, "Oh, whoa."
If my insurance agent had seen that,
Uh-huh.
holy crap. I'm like, y'all signed waivers? Everybody signed everyone signed a
Everyone
waiver to
watch your
get it.
children.
Everyone's past the
Mhm.
enter at your own risk. All the things. No, we had so many issues with that. Parents leaving their kids there. I got called multiple times for kids that couldn't find their parents because they just left them at the corn pit and wandered away. And then at one point, the poor FFA advisor that got asked to sit there and I just stationed someone there because I said, let's just make sure kids are being safe. Like,
Yes. You're not trying to go up the bottom of the
nope,
slide while
yep,
somebody else is
everybody out the
sliding.
bottom,
Yeah.
around the side, like all the things one at a time. She almost came to blows with a dad. And I had to get in the middle of it and full
What?
de-escalate. I got this, was it my radio? Maybe it was my one of my phones went off and it was like, I need you now at the corn pit. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
Okay. Booked it across. She's nose to nose with this dad. And I like immediately slid in the middle of it. And I'm like, hi, I'm Jessica. I own the place. Let's have a chat.
oh
And I
no.
like got right in his face because she's shorter than me and he was a pretty big dude. And I was like, and we're sitting down now. And I like totally
Yes.
pulled out my like, oh, that was fun. So I couldn't leave for a while. I sent her on a walkabout and I was like, we're just gonna de-escalate the situation and I'm gonna sit here because if anyone's gonna boot someone, it's gonna be me.
Mhm.
Um, what else was really good? The concert on Saturday night, the after party. We called it an after party. It was so cool.
And you guys did
So
line
cool.
dancing, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, that was at the
Line
end of
dancing
Saturday.
lessons.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a local line dance instructor. I saw her at the fair. My kids were at the fair. Like,
There were so many activities this year, that's insane.
it felt like there was always something going on. And the wagon rides, super hit.
Can
We had 2 teams going,
can I ask you how many people were there?
just around
Ish?
6,000. Yeah,
Okay.
6,000, which was my target. I say ish because the kids are always estimated. I'm not going through and counting their signatures.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's waivers for every one of them, but unless I physically added that up, I know what I hit ticket sales, and then there's a multiplier
Yeah.
for family events that kids are free for. And so just at 6,000.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's so many moving parts. So when you're sitting there and being
Mhm.
like this little like when people are listening to like this little thing happened and this, yeah, but
Mhm.
there's like 6,000 people coming to this
Oh,
market.
yeah.
Like it's not a tiny market when you look at how many people are actually coming and spending time, and it was span over 2 days. I
Well, so it
s-
ended up almost being 3 because I opened campers for the night before. I got
yeah.
so many emails from people that were bringing their RVs that were like, "We're gonna come. We don't wanna leave at 3 a.m. Saturday, so we're driving across the state Friday. Can we just pull in? We promise we won't, be a
Mhm.
bother or anything." And I'm like, "That wasn't the plan. I don't have a team to check you in. Like, I don't even have your spots set yet." But I ended up letting them anyways because I felt really bad. And some wonderful lady messaged me, so it's a night of market. She's like, I saw in the email that I could get in until 9, but I'm not going to get there until 11. And that's if I can stay awake driving. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, where are you? What's
Yeah.
happening? And she's like, well, I'm just trying to make it there, but I'm really tired. I may have to sleep in a parking lot. And I was like, first of all, I will make sure the gates are open if you need to. Here's my personal cell phone number. Call me
Yeah.
when you get close. I will open the gates for you if it's 11:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, you're not sleeping on the side of the highway. And then I was finding her safe spots to stop on the way in
Oh,
because I was so worried about her. All of this while like everything else is happening, but you get these random DMs, and I feel very responsible for people. So
you do feel very responsible for
I
people.
do, and I need to let go of that. So all of this is like the highlight of the sweetest thing ever. My husband danced with me at the after
I
party.
know, and the picture was so cute.
Olivia Harms said like the sweetest things, and then she dedicated a song to us, and so he did dance with me, which is the first time since our wedding that he's
That's so
danced with
cute.
me. I was
Good job, CJ.
bawling. Yeah, shout out to CJ for that one. And my son was bound and determined to hang, and so somebody had pictures of him taking pictures of us because he was like my little
Oh,
B-roll buddy. It was the cutest thing.
stop it.
No, I'm
That's
dying. I've never
adorable.
shared them.
That's adorable.
Actually, someone also sent me a picture of him. He sacked out in the VIP tent on the cute couch in front of the
I saw
backdrop,
that.
like passed out.
It's like, just need a little nappy nap.
I just like I had told the boys like go wherever. Anyways,
And now I hear
uh-huh.
that you have announced the dates
I did.
for this year's Market in the Mountains. And
Hmm.
this year it is 3 days.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's getting bigger and bigger.
Well, I don't know that it's gonna. 3 days is it kind of sounds more than it is because okay, that's kind of a
No,
lie.
I was
I
gonna
don't know.
say that doesn't. It's 3 days, so don't even like everybody stop listening to Jess justify her 3 days is 3 days. I don't care if it's a half day. It's 3 days. It is 3 days
uh,
in September. What are the dates, Jess?
25th, 26th, and 27th of 2026. And I will leave you with a spoiler for the next episode. I just posted those, what, like a week ago?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe? CJ found out via Instagram that it was going to be 3 days because he didn't know I was posting them. And he saw the post and he came and he busted in the door and he goes, 3 days? And I was like, yeah, yeah. How you feel about that? And he's like, I feel like you should have asked me before you posted it, but okay.
Funny, I also found out on Instagram, and I was like, "How am I only finding out about this on Instagram?" But the fact that CJ only found out on Instagram makes
No.
me feel better about that.
So I did not know until the middle of January if there would be Market in the Mountains 2026. So
And that's going to be a big topic. We thought we were going to be able to get we were hoping to get all of Market in the Mountains in this episode in 45 minutes, and we did not do it. We are now at about an hour and and just over an hour. So we didn't quite do it. We are going to try to wrap this up for you guys though, because the next episode we get into, I think, a really important conversation. And anytime that we kind of dabble into this topic, it's always
Mhm.
really valuable. And we get a lot of feedback because I know a lot of people in this space, particularly in the agriculture, rural small business, working with family space, all of the things, have struggles in the execution of that. And Jess is going to dive a little bit more into that in the next episode. So make sure you tune in for that because you will not want to miss it.